No US airlines offer a true all-you-can-fly pass. Ask American Airlines how that went in the 80s. But there is an airline that gives you Costco-style access to the cheapest flights in the country. This is Frontier Airlines, and for the past year, I've been a holder of their GoWild Pass. I've used it to fly all around the country for as little as $16 a flight, and if things had gone a little differently, I could have used it to fly to some interesting foreign countries as well. But as we come to the end of my year-long pass membership, I'm sad to report that I will be parting ways with my Frontier Airlines GoWild Pass come May 1st. Why am I giving up the cheap flights of a lifetime? The only way to find out is to go for a bunch of flights. Frontier Airlines is an ultra-low-cost carrier based in Denver, Colorado. Their annual GoWild Pass typically sells for $700 a year. Mine was purchased during one of their periodic sales and cost only $300. Besides the annual pass, you can also buy seasonal ones or one-month passes on Frontier's website for a lower price. The annual pass renews in May, meaning mine lasted from May 2025 to April 2026. The GoWild Pass gives you the ability to purchase plane tickets for 1 cent, plus associated taxes and fees. This leads to a domestic flight running you about $16, a flight to Puerto Rico about $35, and a flight to Mexico about $100. But there is, of course, a catch. Domestic GoWild tickets only go on sale at midnight the day before takeoff, while international tickets give you just 10 days advance notice. Either way, your chance of getting a ticket depends on if a flight has sold out, and Frontier will sometimes limit the number of GoWild Pass seats available on a flight, even if there are physical seats available, leading to no reduced fare tickets being available when you try to book. You also can't use the pass to book a ticket for someone else. And you're barred from using the pass on blackout dates, such as around Christmas or the 4th of July. On the plus side, GoWild Pass holders also get partial discounts on select flights further in advance. All GoWild tickets, like standard ones on Frontier, only come with a random seat and a personal item. Baggage fees and even seat selection charges can often run you more than the ticket itself. So what flights can you take with the GoWild Pass? In theory, lots. Frontier serves 123 airports all around the United States, Latin America, and the Caribbean. But Frontier is also a mid-size airline, and as you'll discover from a quick Google Flights search, their schedule varies widely from day to day, week to week, and month to month, with many flight routes running less than once a day. So within that framework, is the pass even worth it? Well, I decided to put it to the test. When I got the annual pass, a gift from my wife Calcudon and my generous Patreon supporters, I was a grad student living in Philadelphia. This was the perfect time to have a GoWild Pass. Philly is one of Frontier's biggest airports in the Northeast, and my grad school schedule gave me tons of flexibility to work anywhere with internet. With so many travel options, I decided my first GoWild trip would finally check off a longtime bucket list item: attending the Delta Surplus sale in Atlanta, Georgia. There were multiple Philly to Atlanta flights on the day of the sale, so I planned my whole adventure as a day trip, meaning I could book both my outbound and return flights on the previous calendar day. This gave me plenty of time to head down to the Georgia Capitol, shop for airline junk, ride MARTA, and poke fun at the city's tiny streetcar. I was sure this would be the beginning of many more adventures. But it turned out that a much bigger adventure was just beginning, because as my streetcar crawled through Atlanta traffic, I got a text from my wife Calcudon. She had gotten an exciting new job in Boston, Massachusetts. This changed everything. Soon, Calcudon and I were living apart, so I could finish grad school and she could begin work. One weekend, just after she left, I used my GoWild Pass to fly to Dallas for a weekend of filming. I'd already booked my return flight with the GoWild Pass, but partway through the adventure, I decided to pivot and surprise Calcudon with a visit instead. With no direct Frontier flights available and no GoWild seats available on connecting flights from Dallas to Boston, I instead had to shell out over $200 for a JetBlue ticket up to New England. After that, I decided to postpone other trips and instead use my pass to fly to Boston whenever I could. At the time, Frontier had a nonstop between Philly and Boston on Thursdays and Saturdays, so I used that for quick trips back and forth. But on days when this wasn't available, I resorted to elaborate connecting itineraries to Boston via Florida, with one visit to Tampa and its streetcars leaving me to camp out in the Tampa airport overnight, and another taking me to Orlando complete with a very cheap tour of Disney World. Since I only paid for a bus ticket and a Dole Whip the whole time, I was basically just there to ride the monorail. While my plan had been to fly back from Orlando that night, my flight was oversold, and being the perpetually eager volunteer I always am, I wound up with a ticket on the next morning's flight, as well as a promise of flight and hotel vouchers. The hotel voucher never came, and Frontier refused to compensate me for this later. Instead, I spent the night with my friend Josh in his hotel room, and I had to beg Frontier's customer service to send me the $300 flight voucher days later. Still, once I'd gotten said voucher, I'd made a $284 net profit off of a $16 ticket. I did make one elaborate travel plan to visit a disability services organization out west as part of my studies, which shall remain nameless. But when I woke up the day before travel, there were no tickets available, so I awkwardly had to email them and say, guys, my flight was cancelled? I realized one downside of being a GoWild Pass holder was that it was really hard to explain to people why I was flying cheaply everywhere, but only sometimes. So I often just didn't bother explaining at all. Then I finished grad school, moved to Boston, and got a fantastic job here myself. I love working as an occupational therapist, and Calcadon loves her new job as a case manager. We're really happy here. But the reality is that I can't work from home anymore. I don't think that would go over very well. I also have to work a pretty set schedule. Taking paid time off requires advanced planning, which I just can't reliably do with the GoWild Pass. And there aren't nearly as many Frontier Airlines flights out of Logan Airport as there are out of Philly. For my Los Angeles trip in September, I took Delta to LA, then used the GoWild Pass to take Frontier for the trip back. And that was my last trip with the pass. I tried to use it again last month for a trip to Puerto Rico, and while I was able to get an outbound flight for $35, the return flight had no GoWild tickets available, and sold out completely before I could apply my voucher from the Orlando escapade. Since the following weekend was the last one with a nice nonstop to Puerto Rico until April, when I already had other travel plans, I rage quit and dropped my entire $300 voucher, plus over $100 of my own money, on tickets to Puerto Rico this past weekend. Subscribe if you'd like to see that, and join my Patreon if you'd like to see that early. Technically, I could use the GoWild Pass until the end of April, but I already have tickets to Seattle, Vancouver, and Montreal booked for that time span. I don't want to be away from Calcadon any more than that, and frankly, the GoWild Pass just doesn't work with my lifestyle anymore. It's just not for me. Which raises the question, who is it for? To that, I would say the GoWild Pass is not for most people. It's for people who love being spontaneous, when that spontaneity is based on hours and hours of planning and research. It's for people who are flexible planners and travelers and willing to think outside the box. It's for people who enjoy a good deal, but still have the dough to buy accommodations and full-price flights at the last minute when necessary. It's for people who work or study remotely, or whose jobs have very flexible time-off policies. And most of all, it's for people who live in, regularly visit, or transit through one of these cities. If you feel like you're one of these people, grab yourself a pass and go wild. Although I would recommend buying it when it's on sale, or getting the 1-month pass to see if you like it before you commit. Even though Frontier Airlines GoWild Pass doesn't fit my lifestyle anymore, I still had a great time as a pass holder. I only got to go on a few of my dream adventures, but it gave me something better. An affordable way to see my beloved wife almost every weekend without breaking the bank. And during a time when our lives were moving into a new frontier, I'm grateful to Frontier Airlines for that.